Understanding GMV Max. So the way GMV Max works, it's an AI that aims for a specific return on ad spend. Return on ad spend. So the AI, we in the system, for example, we on the back end, we can put a return on ad spend of say 4 to 7. We can actually range it at anything. It depends on the brand. Some brands have it as low as 2. Some brands have it at 7. Like I know Micro Ingredients had it quite high at 7. Other brands put it at 10. So depends on the ad spend. So if they put in, if it's a 2, if ROAS is equals to 2, then if we put in $1,000 in ad spend, it should push out $2,000 in revenue, right? That's how it works. So now, obviously, depending on the brand, how much of that is profit really depends on the product and stuff. But so a brand will then target a ROAS that will be profitable for them. So if they break even, and that's actually they typically aim for break even with these type of things. So if they break even at a 4 ROAS, they're going to set the back end to target a ROAS of 4. So at a ROAS of 4, you're going to have $1,000 in. It's going to give you $4,000 in GMV or revenue out. Okay, and so now this is where you come in. So if you look at the back end, right, we have, you know, the product page. Okay, if we look at the back end of GMV Max, we have the product page. The product page will get ad spend behind it and generate sales. Okay, so that typically gets a lot higher than the amount you're setting in the ROAS. So if you put in traffic to it, you might get, for example, a 7 return on ad spend, which is good. And then the creators videos, let's call it creatives. Okay, creatives, depending on how well you convert, will get a specific ROAS. So say that the highest converting for whatever campaign this is, okay, the highest converting is a 3 ROAS, and the average will be around maybe 5, or if there's a bunch of 3s, say you have maybe another 10 creatives, they get a 3 ROAS, okay, that's going to give you, with the 7 and all these 10 3s here, you're going to average maybe a 3.5 ROAS, or you're going to average a 4 ROAS, okay? And GMV Max will be able to meet the ROAS that you set on the back end, okay? So this is kind of like the safety net for the brand so that you don't make a loss overall. And depending on how low that is, depends on how many creatives it will kind of take on and put into the system. Okay, so if your content, you make a video and a video gets, you make a low converting video, right? And it gets a 2 ROAS, then it won't take it, because if it does take it video, it will drop that to a 3.5 or drop it to closer towards 2, towards your one, and therefore go below the limit that they set. And then GMV Max won't push out your video. So yeah, the question is, how do you get your video in here? And what metrics are you looking at so that you can understand what high converting content is for your brand? So basically what you should be looking at, so ROAS is return on ad spend. So the ads, what do the ads do? The ads are running traffic to a post, and depending on the post will depend on how much of that traffic it converts into sales, right? So if TikTok gives it 1,000 views, then of that 1,000 views, how many actually get sold, okay? So that's kind of how you need to understand it. So you're gonna kind of look at this is actually a metric that's on the back end, which is the GPM. And that's basically the sales or the GMV per 1K, so 1 views. There's an I there somewhere. So the GPM is your sales per 1,000 views. So the higher GPM you can get means the higher converting content that you have. So based on this, say for example, your video gets a $48 per 1K views. Okay, based on that, TikTok's like, all right, if you send 10,000 people to this, it's going to make $480. Okay, so how much does it cost for that 10,000 people that you cost to run the ads? And this is how well it converts. So then you can calculate your ROAS. So this is directly correlated. This is directly connected to that number from GMV Max. And you can this is your goal, is to get as high as possible of a GPM as possible. You need to get as high as possible a GPM. So depending on the product you're promoting, it'll all have a different kind of high GPM. What does high mean? It's obviously relative to what the other products, what the other creatives with that product are doing. And then you're kind of optimizing for the best creative with that product. For example, with Serene, the orange bitters or the single products. So these are all like singles, okay? These are all single products, the orange bitters, the mixed berry, it's all like single products. These are all one bottles that they're buying. So when we looked at the top creatives, they get about a $48 to $55. Recently, actually, a $55 popped up per 1,000 views organically, right? $55 per 1,000 views organically. That was our highest so far. So if a creator wants to do well and get into GMV Max, that's the kind of numbers they have to aim for. For like the triple power bundle, for example, that's 3 products together. That's obviously a bundle of 3. It's selling for $50 for a single one, where this is selling at $19. This is selling at $19 for a single one, and this is selling at $15 for a single sale. So a high converting video of this is going to be around, when we looked at the top videos, is going to be around $112 per 1K views. Okay, so that's if creators are promoting this product, that's what they're aiming for. Creators are promoting this product, that's kind of what you're aiming for. Okay, and so you need to find that out, and then this is what you're aiming for. Now you know what you're aiming for. How the fuck do you actually hit that? That's so vague, Shah. You need to look at the top content and try and optimize with those hooks. So this is a lot. So when you look at the top content, right, the main takeaway from that is the hook. The hook is doing 90% of the heavy lifting, and the script is going to do the script is like 20%. It's not actually doing that much. Your hooks are actually what's driving most of your sales, believe it or not. So what you need to do is get a hook. Try and steal the top hooks. Again, look at my previous video. But you're gonna, for a whole kind of month, all you're gonna be doing is tweaking hooks and try and keep the body the same. So find a video that does relatively well for yourself, okay? Say it gets like 5K views, like something decent, something tangible that's like, it's way different than what you're doing before. Especially if you're a newer creator, it's a little bit difficult because it's like, oh, like all my videos getting 200, which video do I actually work with to then adjust the hook? It's just find a video that has like 5,000 views, or a video that got you a sale or 2. Use that script, or use the top converting video script, and it's change their hooks. And use that hook. The first hook you're going to make, the first video you make is going to copy this exactly. And then the rest of the videos, right, you're going to just be testing a whole ton of hooks. Don't remake it exactly like copy and paste clips. You're going to re-say to the camera every single time. So if you're making 10 videos, you're going to talk to the camera 10 times and say the script 10 times and say the hook 10 different fucking times, because it's going to, obviously it's going to be 10 different hooks, but you're going to remake that video 10 times with 10 different hooks, keep the rest exactly the fucking same, and see how it works, okay? So take the top video, remake it, and make it 10 times with with 10 different hooks. That you can ask ChatGPT also. I showed you how to do it in the demographic thing with uploading all that info. ChatGPT understands now who's the demographic. You can just ask it, based on this, what can you give me some hooks? And based on the script that I just uploaded that from your top video, what script can I use? It will give you some solid hooks, and you just have to pick out. Like, you can just pick from there. Don't pick randomly. Obviously, use your gut feeling, what you think works. And most likely your gut is right. If it just clicks out to you, if it stands out to you, it's probably a good hook. And you can use it. So yeah, it's a new day. Camera died. So part 2. This is kind of to help you figure out what's the best hooks that will work for you. And the hooks will give you your GPM. So your hooks will most of the time get your organic GPM to start. And then after that, you know, once the video goes viral, it starts reaching to a bigger audience, started reaching to a colder audience, because you got the right hook, you got it right, it went viral. It started, it got a high GPM at the start, and then it starts reaching a colder audience and a newer audience. The GPM is going to drop from your max organic. So say it starts off at like 55, you're selling soursop bitters, selling the original bitters, you start off at like a nice 55. It's going to go more and more viral, and the GPM is going to drop, and it's going to go to a colder audience, which is going to be more difficult to convert. So that's where this section comes in. Now, this is my second time remaking this, because the last time I didn't like the top I was wearing, so I already drew this out. But basically, so we got the 55, your hook gives you the top of this peak, right? So we got a little $55 over here. You start off at the peak, and your video goes viral, and starts reaching that cold audience, and it drops until it like kind of plateaus, and it reaches this cold audience, right? And then this is where it kind of plateaus, and say it goes from $55 to $22. When it hits the cold audience, it's going to kind of stick around $22. But now there's a little bit of a problem with that, because GMV Max won't keep pushing this, and TikTok won't keep pushing this content because it doesn't convert very well. So what's the point of pushing out this content from the organic side? Because it's not serving the audience, it's not really converting, it's not serving the brand, and it's wasting the goodwill of TikTok. I like to think about it that way, because TikTok wants to be very specific on how they do this, because they want to keep the goodwill of their brand high, so that people keep coming back to the platform. If it's going to be doused and pushed with constant TikTok shop stuff, people are going to go to Instagram Reels. So fuck that shit. They'll just cut your video. And we look at it from the GMV Max side. Like I said, say the brand sets as a 4 ROI on the back end. The 7 comes from your product page. The 3s are going to come from the videos, right? Then this is most likely all the cold videos. This is how much they're producing cold. Okay, if they're staying there for a while, if it's being pushed out for multiple months, they're pulling a 3 ROI cold to a cold audience. So you want to hit that cold audience at a 3 ROI, okay? And what that means in terms of your GPM, is, so in terms of like your GPM, your $22, right, could give you a 2 ROI, which is not good enough to be pushed by GMV Max. So your video gets pushed up organically, gets a little colder, then GMV Max picks it up, keeps pushing, and then it's like, okay, we're going to the 3 ROI. That's where GMV Max, like the AI is like, I want to keep it at 3 ROI. It will keep spending to see what happens. It goes below the 3 ROI. It's like, no, we've got to cut it here, because this isn't profitable for the brand. This is going to make us a loss. According to what we said on the back end, our 4 average is going to drop now to, this is like a 2.5, for example. It's going to be like, nah, this is going to go even lower to 2, or it's 2.5 is even still bad. If I keep pushing this, our average GPM is going to drop from 4 to 3.5 or to 3, which will be bad for the brand. So it's going to cut it off. It's going to stop spending money on your ads. So if you want to stay there, if you want it to plateau over here, what do you need to do? You need to convert better with a colder audience, because when it reaches that cold audience, it still needs to pull $33 per 1,000 views. And currently you're pulling $22 per 1,000 views. So it's like, how do you fill that gap? Is educating. Well, there's a few things I thought of, which is really cool and really interesting. But, you know, planting comments, something I thought of recently and I've been looking at was this is like, you know, when you look at the comments on your video, right? And think about you as a consumer kind of going through, you want to buy something, you're going to check out the reviews, yes, on the listing, and that increases your conversions. If there's good reviews on the listing, it's got a 4.3, 4.5 stars, 4.7 stars, that will increase your conversions. Reviews are very important, and people are going to scroll through, look at what the reviews are saying. That will increase their conversions, okay? But what on your side also, your comments are like a little review section, you know? There's people that also bought the product before, or, you know, want to buy the product. They're going to be commenting in there, and people are going to be looking at the comments, especially when you get 10, 20,000 views already, you're getting a bunch of comments. So people go to those comments. The first thing on any TikTok, I open the comments, and then people are going to be looking through and see what people are saying. So it's going to be like, okay, if there's a bunch of negative reviews, people saying, oh no, this didn't help me, this is like bad for my gut, or like I felt like I had cancer after this, and like, there's some people just didn't resonate with the product, or maybe they got a bad batch, different things. All I know is that in CC we do push good products. Every product in CC is good, and we don't push shit because we know of the effects of having a shit product, and it's just going to die out, and we want brands that are going to last long term. So obviously we know that the products are all good, and as a manager also, we'll only take on products that we believe in. So sometimes there are such situations where the comments are going to be bad. Serene Herbs gets a little bit of negative comments because we changed the formula and stuff like that. People don't like the taste. There's a bunch of like negative stuff that goes on in the comments. So you want to remove that, filter out the bad comments, and then plant good comments in there, and talk about, have like 2-3 friends comment, or through 2-3 alt accounts, talk about, you know, how you like the product, you know, what are the different things that people maybe don't love about the product, or maybe what are the things that are holding people back from buying. Those kind of questions, you're gonna kind of answer that with a comment in the question, in the thing, like, oh, I love the taste of this. I love that it tastes bad because it's so good for you, you know. So with Serene Herbs specifically, like, it tastes really bad, but it's supposed to taste bad because the bitterness is supposed to help your liver kind of secrete more bile, and then the bile gets flushed out through the system, and that just detoxifies your liver and goes through, and, you know, it kind of detoxifies your whole system just because the bile is being released from the liver, which is so actually good for you. And just the fucking taste does that, regardless of everything that's inside, the center, the other good healthy ingredients inside. Just the fucking taste serves you so well, but people think of it as, this is not good for me because it tastes so shit. So you need to like push them over that edge. There's a lot of negative stuff about that. You can push them over the edge by planting comments, positive review type comments. You can just get a bunch like kind of templated, send it to a couple of friends, or just send it from your other accounts and plant them in the comments. Really good. So that will increase your conversions with a cold audience, helping this line kind of come up. Filtering out the bad comments will get that line come up, right? Educating your creators more, educating your audience more. So again, with the objections, what objections do they have that you can educate them about and push them over that edge, so that the cold audience they just like, oh, when they're watching this thing, they have like a bunch of questions in their head that will stop them from buying. And once those are answered, boom, they buy. So all you need, this is like basic fucking sales also. And then you just need to answer those in your video, which is really good. And coming into that also is bottom of funnel stuff. I'll teach you more in another course, kind of answering those questions and increasing your conversions throughout your whole fucking page, and not just on a specific video. But yeah, like these 3 things are so important. And if you wanted to make a video, a piece of content that will serve you for the next 3 to 4 fucking months, this is your trick. This is your fucking ticket. And then the next thing is, once you have this going, right? So you made a video, it's being pushed out by GMV Max, you got the high ROI that you wanted, you know. This also you can speak to your owners about. I don't know if I mentioned about this, but yeah, this you can speak, if you need these numbers, you can speak to your managers about it, or ask a friend, ask, you know, look at your GMV and you can look at your GMV dashboard. It will tell you your sales in the last 7 days, and you'll look at your product views in the last 7 days. Your views, your product impressions. So you take your GMV, total GMV for the last 7 days, say it's $1,000, and you did 100,000 views. So you take it, 1,000 divided by 100 gives you $10 per 1,000 views, which is bad, depending on the product, obviously. But yeah, so you can look at that, and then you can look at the top creators in the last 7 days. How well did they do? You know, and you can kind of gauge what's good and what's bad. If like a top creator has a video that's been pushing for a while, it might be on the lower side, and you're like, oh, why are they winning with the GPM is lower than mine? It's because it's an older video, and it's just running cold. It's running cold to a cold audience consistently, and it's doing well. So you need to aim higher than that, okay? Because you want to start here, and then it's going to go cold and go end up where they are. So you want to go quite a bit higher than that. But that's just to gauge kind of plus minus what it's like. If you want to ask them in detail, you know, on a specific video, you can get that information. Or if you want to ask, yeah, but on My Brands, if you're on My Brands, you're going to get all this information from me directly, so no stress.